A very warm welcome to all of you joining the talk between Jacob Aue Sobol, a Danish photographer, and myself, Karin Rehn-Kaufmann, art director and chief representative of the 25 Leica galleries around the world. So we talk today about the exhibition at the Leica Gallery in Wetzlar, at Leica headquarters, arrivals and departures. So welcome, dear Jacob. Good to see you, at least online. As far as I remember, we saw each other last year in February by chance in the Leica Gallery in Milan when you had your exhibition there, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think it was January, but yeah.
Was it January? But it was before all what is going on now worldwide with
Exactly.
COVID-19.
Yes, yes.
So how are you doing now, living with your small family on a small island in Denmark during the pandemic? And what are you shooting at the moment?
Well, thank you, Karin, for the introduction. We are doing really well here. Yeah, there has been some huge changes in my life in general, and also maybe in my photography. Usually, when there's big changes in my life, there will also be some changes in the way we take pictures, right? Because it's always a reflection of how we feel ourselves, aware of what situation we are in our lives. It's often shown in the work we do. But back to your question, I'm doing great with my baby daughter. Maybe she's not a baby anymore. I don't know. She's almost 2.
I saw her in Milan, but then there she was really small. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And now she's running around and speaking half languages, like because we have my wife is Italian and I'm
Oh,
Danish, and also we speak English together sometimes, and so she has 3 languages to navigate in.
wonderful.
But when the pandemic came, actually, we were on we after Milan when we met in Milano, we went to a small island north of Sicily called Alicudi, and we were going to work there editing my next book. I was there with my baby and wife and 2 assistants as well. And that's when the pandemic really started to spread. So we had to kind of hurry home because Denmark was closing the borders and so on. And from then on, we have been just the 3 of us for 1 year, completely isolated in this small fishing village, which it is we are living in here.
And you're shooting just, I mean, you said a little bit, I think this is very important that always when you change yourself, your perspective, what you're doing in photography also change. And this is the human aspect because photography always has to do, of course, or should, from my point of view, has to do with the person behind the camera.
Mm.
So what are you shooting at the moment? Because I mean, you said you are not able to travel, so you go out on this little island, more nature or people, or what are you at the moment shooting?
Well, the thing is that for almost a year, just before the pandemic, I had a break taking pictures because after 20 years of intense work all around the world, I needed a break from photography. I was kind of I don't know. I was frustrated. I have always been. It's been a challenge for me to look at the world through a camera. It's kind of a dilemma for me to be a photographer. I think because I love to take part in life around me. So when I see something, maybe it's not the most natural thing for me to photograph it, but rather to step inside and be part of it. And then after I feel that I'm a part of somehow, to some degree, is a part of the place or part of the situation or place, I start to take pictures.
So this is a really good point. Sorry to interrupt you, because coming now to the exhibition arrivals and departures, one really can see that in many of the pictures, from my point of view, you are part of it. So Arrivals and Departures is a work. You started a journey on the train from Moscow to Beijing. When we look at this series as this on this exhibition, there is a lot of different motives inside, from landscape to street and to very intimate portraits. Where is the common denominator for all these different kinds of pictures?
The comment, sorry, I missed the word.
Denominator, so the common ground.
Yeah. The common ground of this kind of pictures. I mean, it's something that is deeply rooted in me, that that I want to connect with the people I photograph. For me, it's important that we are sharing something, that it's not only, I don't only want to be a voyeur. Of course, I cannot always avoid, to some extent, to be the one looking at people, or but I always feel that it's important that I give a lot of myself as well, that there is an exchange going on, so that the people I photograph, they also feel that they received something from me.
Yeah, and perhaps we can start to talk about two very moving images. I will just show them to you, these
Yes.
two. And how did you get in contact with these people? And how was the relationship with these people? Because from my point of view, I mean, I wouldn't be photographed in these situations. And yeah, what is the relationship between you and your subject? And how did you meet them? And how was the possibility to get so close to them? I mean, you was on the train.
Yeah, but actually we did. That was a lot of questions. We did. We did get off the train at some of the cities on the way. I remember. I mean, to begin with, the idea was to stay on the train all the way and photograph people in the different train compartments. But it turned out that the Trans-Siberian from Moscow to Beijing, it was almost empty. There was not many people traveling there. I found out that most of the local people, they use the local trains instead. So it was kind of a challenge for me to find out how to get close to people when there were not that many people on the train, of course. So we also got off in the cities on the way between Moscow and Beijing, and I went into the streets to meet people and photograph them and so on. So often when I meet, it's a mixture for me. I don't have one specific way to do things. Sometimes I meet people in the streets, and sometimes I can also meet them through social media, for example. So when I come to a place, I sometimes post that I'm coming to let's say Moscow, and that I would love to get inside people's home and to meet young
And
people.
when we talk about these two pictures, was this online that you met them or contacted them online, or was it that you met them in the street or talked to them and met them in real?
These two couples you
Yeah.
have there is people that one couple I met through online from Beijing, and the other one I met through other friends I have in Moscow. So what I do is I have a starting point where I meet up with people that I know in that city, and then I get to meet other people around them and so on, and I start photographing. But there are also situations where I basically meet people walking around in the streets. But of course, the step from photographing someone in the street to photograph them in their own home.
Yes.
It's a big step. It does happen, but sometimes you need the access with help from their friends or from someone you know, and so on.
Yeah, but the relationship when you shoot them in these situations, I mean, they give you a lot of trust. And is there a lot of conversations before, or they are just happy to be photographed from you?
I guess. I mean, I got this question many times, and I've never really been able to give the key to how I photograph people like this. But people must trust me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's people I have never met before. I'm invited into their home. I start photographing them, and often it ends in very intimate situations and shootings. So um, I don't know, but I think it's because they feel that I'm sincere, or they feel that I'm not. I'm not trying to push people, because if you push people, they will automatically, they will not open up to you. You need to show them that you're willing to also to show them who you are, and to that you are also basically like them. You are fragile, sensitive human being. And once you start sharing, often people also start to open up more.
I think this is the main point, what you just at the end mentioned, that you show them how you are, and that you are also a very sensitive, and yeah, then they have the trust to trust to. And do you have, when you shoot them or when it's finished, you
Yeah.
ever had some contact later on, or it's just done and then you go on?
Well, it's very different. Some people I have contact with, and some I don't. But
Yeah.
often they would like to see a picture or so on. So I send it to them. Mostly now it's online. I send some pictures or so on.
Yeah.
And some of them, they see the a portrait of them worldwide somewhere, and
And in huge formats, as we know from the
yeah.
exhibition in Wetzlar now. And what was the initiative idea for this project?
Well, the idea was that some of the things that we talked about already, that I wanted to show that a young couple in love in Moscow looks the same as a young couple in love in Beijing. That I wanted to point at things that we share as human beings, more than things that are different or exotic and so on. So basically, it's true that I feel that I could photograph people in this way anywhere in the world, but it's very important for me to remind us about this, that we come from the same things, we have the same needs, we have the same feelings and emotions for each other, and that we need each other. So in this long travel through Russia, Mongolia, and China, that was one of the things that I wanted to connect people from different cities and places.
This is a wonderful human approach. And I think what you just said with the last sentences, this is really also important for these pandemic times. We really need each other. And one can feel this in these times really, really strong, that we are social human beings. Yeah. Yeah. So, Jacob, which relevance does black and white photography have for you? Because this is really, I will come to that later, but perhaps you just try to answer this question.
Um, I think for me, when I was a student, it's 20 years ago, I was trying different ways of photographing. I mean, the important thing I feel for photographer or writer, or anyone who works with self-expression, is to find your own voice, to find something that reflects who you are and the way you look at the world, your connection, your intimate connection to the world and people around you. So I think I was looking for that voice from when I was beginning of 20s, right? And I tried different ways of taking pictures, but I think when I found out that using black and white, for me, I could more kind of isolate an emotion, or I could isolate a situation that was not being, it was not so, for me, the colors were a bit disturbing. Like you got attracted to a specific color, you got attracted to more to, I don't know, it seemed a bit too confusing for me. I felt that with black and white, I could get to the core of who I was, or something more existential, maybe.
Yeah, it's coming to the essential. I mean, imagining these picture in color, no, not at all, from my point of view. So, so that means you never shoot in color. You always use black and white.
Yes, that's why
This is
I
a
love
statement. Wonderful. Yeah.
that's why
So
I love the monochrome, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm coming to the point now. Yes, because I know this picture really, really well because we had this picture as the main motive for the launch of the first M monochrome in 2012 in Berlin, and there was also an exhibition with your images there. You choose it also for the talk. So, what would you like to tell us about this image?
well, maybe it's not a typical Jacob image because there's a lot of distance. I mean, physical distance in the picture. But then again, it's also a challenge to make intimate pictures of landscapes, right, or of cityscapes and so on. So I remember this specific situation very well because I was actually arrested in Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia. I was photographing at a market, and there were some guards who took
It
me.
was not allowed that a foreigner photographed, or
No, I mean, I think in public areas, I mean, I don't know exactly because it's always complicated when you don't speak the same language and so on. But I mean, I just felt that I had to. I mean, I'm always alone when I take pictures, of course. So it's important for me not to have anyone around. Or so. Of course, there are some risks sometimes that you cannot communicate always with people through the language. But I mean, they were pretty serious or aggressive. So they deleted or they made me delete all my images from that day.
wow.
And
Oh,
of course, it was a shock for me. And but I think I was a bit because I had been photographing all day, you know, and I take a lot of pictures when I start to walk the streets and so on. In a day, I might take as much as 1,000 images.
oh my God.
It,
Okay.
for me, it's a way of almost I photograph what I see, right? So every time I see something that I connect with or that I'm fascinated by, I take a picture of it without thinking how I should compose or if I should, because once you start thinking, the image might be gone or your feelings
Mm.
were not as intense as they were in the moment you just saw it. And that's why I photograph so much. So it can be a person, it can be a tree, it can be anything that I connect with. So for me, I think that's one of the reasons I take so many pictures is that uh, every time I look around, I see things that I'm fascinated by. It can be even a shape, or it can be a movement, or it can be anything.
But this is what we are talking now about, is I think the decisive moment, and to really live in the moment and to see what is going around you. Yeah. What
Uh,
you,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so this picture, so that means for you, this picture is connected with your arrest.
Yeah, but let me finish the story, because what
Yeah.
happens is actually that after I'm arrested, or what you call, I mean, when they see that all images are deleted and so on, I move on. And actually, I'm so confused that I don't think about maybe that I could recover the files and all this. And actually, it was my first time using a digital camera with the monochrome.
I know, yes. Yeah.
So I didn't know that much about it. So I just I walked around in Ulaanbaatar, in this neighborhood where the images were deleted, and I sat down on this bench by a basketball court, and I saw these boys playing basketball, and I said, oh, okay, let me take a break from this from photographing, and I started playing a bit with them, just to get in a better mood maybe. And then after playing with them for half an hour or so, I kind of walked up the hill a bit, and then I saw the scenery of them playing there, with the neighborhood in the background. And
Yeah.
that's when I took that picture. So for me, it was a beautiful moment that even I had this bad experience. I also reminded myself that yeah, you always have to move forward when something like that happens, and you cannot stop your eagerness to take part in life. Like, just it's just for a moment of playing basketball with these boys, and then
They were glad that you joined them.
yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So these are the very special moments, especially what was happening before, yeah, to
yeah,
coming back to real life,
yeah.
and also to see the positive sides of the life. Yeah. So, what was the most important teaching you have learned during this trip? And by the way, how long was this trip?
Uh, it was only 3 weeks.
Oh,
When I say only, it's because I've been on a lot of travels that were. I traveled through the Siberian taiga during winter for several months and so on. So for me, it was a very intense, limited time period. But it really it was extraordinary for me to work in this very intensive way with the photographing, taking about 1,000 pictures every day. But I also feel that I need this stream of pictures. It kept go once I felt that the ball started to roll. I just wanted to keep on going and to get the full out of this journey. I forgot your question actually.
what was the most important teaching you learned
Ah,
out of this? So the first one is you started really for the first time with digital during this trip. So
yeah,
I mean, this is something then you learned for the first time to use the digital M camera monochrome,
yeah,
and were perhaps you were overwhelmed with a lot of pictures you can shoot every day
yes,
instead of the films. But
yeah.
was
It was,
was that an experience for you that you looked different through the lens because okay, I can shoot and shoot and shoot?
well, yeah, it was a huge difference, I guess. And I think there were some challenges in that to begin with, because when you use a film camera, you don't have the monitor or the display to look at, and that actually makes it easier for you to be present and not to think too much about what you see on the display. But once you get a feeling of that and you get used to it, you learn to use it in a good way. So maybe in the beginning you look too much on the display, and then you try to cover it up again because it's disturbing your communication with people. And then in the end, I found a middle way, you know, that maybe I shouldn't look all the time, or maybe I shouldn't cover it up, but it could be. It took some time and training to make it a natural part of me. And I think that's the whole point for me, that the equipment that I use and so on, that it becomes a natural part of who I am.
That it belongs in a way. It's a part of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Previously I used to say that I sleep with my camera at night, so we feel closer to each other.
Yeah.
But
This is nice. I mean, it's nice to have a Leica in bed, right?
After I have my daughter, I put the camera aside, you know.
Okay, coming to a very also moving image from the twins here.
Yes.
I think they really look sad.
Yeah.
And do you know their story and how did you meet them?
Well, twins is something that I always enjoy to photograph because I'm a twin myself. So again,
I didn't know that.
Oh,
oh, Jacob. Where's the other one?
He's in Copenhagen. I'm a twin. Yes, he's a journalist actually, and he's a very good journalist. He is 3 minutes younger than me.
Younger than you. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. And you have, I mean, this is always very interesting with twins. You also have a very strong connection to each other.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's why I take, actually, yeah. I think it's why I take pictures the way I do as well, because I'm always looking for the closeness I had with my twin brother. I mean, we were, when we grew up, we were like one, right? Like one person. We did everything together. We didn't. We even had our own way of communicating. I mean,
really,
our language, and in order to create your own life or your own personality, when you don't have your twin that close to you anymore, it's really scary. So. And I mean, I had a lot of relationships where I think I tried to make my girlfriend my twin, you know. And it was very not good, complicated, because it's kind of a symbiotic feeling. So I also feel that my photography comes from this eagerness to be close to another person, or to be in this more almost symbiotic feeling.
So I really, I'm really thankful because I didn't know that, and it's really important to know that, as you just said, that the approach to your photography is because of these closeness, a very special one. Yeah. And you really have also, you always have the feeling your brother is, I mean, not sitting or staying behind you, but he's near to you, even if he's in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I mean, we are part of each other. I mean, when we were growing up, we were just called the twins. I mean, we were not called Jacob and Thomas.
Really?
I know that I think today it will be done differently, because we know that maybe it's not a good idea to because how can you create? I mean, then you have to create your own personality when you get older, and you always. I mean, I often imagined me living alone with my twin brother on some isolated island somewhere, because that's where I felt that was my happiness, right?
So is he extremely looking like you? So one egg twins or?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is also, it looks like they also are,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
okay.
I only photograph identical twins, and actually I did it during 15 years. I just haven't released the pictures of the project.
Yeah, yeah,
But
would be interesting, yeah.
uh, so it's not that, so every time I'm somewhere, I always look for twins. Also because then I feel at home more, and I always feel that yeah, I can feel how they are connected and so on. But in this case with the girls here, they also, it was you said they look a bit sad. Yeah, I think one of them was really sick. I mean, not seriously sick, but she had a bad flu or something. And yeah, the funny with identical twins is that your mood spreads to the other person often, right? I feel
Yeah.
the same when my brother is down. I also feel down, and when he's happy, I feel happy. So on. So
But
the
that means not, Jacob, when he's ill, you are ill as well.
no, not this, because now we are separated physically. So um, so we don't necessarily get ill at the same time, but but often when we meet and talk about things, we have, without knowing it, we have come to
Mm.
some of the same ideas. It's often we get a lot of ideas all the time, and when we tell each other about these ideas, many of them are the same, are alike.
And these two girls or two women, they were from Russia or China?
Moscow, from Moscow, from
From,
Russia.
from Russia.
Actually, it was just in the beginning of my trip when we were in Moscow to take the train and so on. Um, and then, I mean, I always, as I mentioned, I always look for twins, and it often also online, because it can be difficult to meet twins randomly in the streets. Sometimes it happens,
Yeah,
but sometimes I also use these twins forum to connect with them online, and then I meet them in their homes. I mean, that's my first thing to that I discuss with people. I try to be open with them and tell them that I would love to meet them in their home rather than out on the studio, because a
yeah,
lot of their personality lays in where they feel safe as well.
yeah. And you are also more connected with them than
Yeah.
if you go to them personally, privately.
Yeah.
So, Jacob, I mean, you said some sentences about what inspires you for photography, but perhaps you can tell us a little bit more what inspires you being a photographer.
It all, for me, it all comes down to love. I I feel that I've always been looking for love and intimate connection with people. Um, Now, coming back to where we began, because I didn't reply fully to your question, that I'm photographing the people that are very close to me. I'm photographing my wife and my child and the environment we live in here. And that's one thing that I think inspires me a lot, is it's kind of the core of who I am, and who, I mean, yeah, who we are, our home, our base, where we feel safe, and where we are together with the people that mean the most to us. And by photographing that, living that, and photographing that, all the love that is accumulated here, I want to take with me when I go out in the world and meet other people, because that's what I want to bring on to other people when they invite me inside to their home, to their lives. They give me so much, and what I want to be able to give back to them is the love that I have from my family and from my life here.
I think this is a wonderful last sentence, because I think really love is the thing who connects us all over the world. And as better we are able to love with all its wonderful, I mean, it's like a big, wonderful flower. And thank you so much, dear Jacob. But I have to pay attention if I'm in when we are able to travel again, when I'm in Copenhagen, if I see some Jacob going down the street, that I don't hug him and saying, hello, how are you?
There's also a ferry from Puttgarden.
Puttgarden, I know Denmark quite well, because we were very often, when our kids were young, we spent our summer holidays in Denmark.
Yeah.
On Bornholm, for example, very often. Yeah, I love it. So, my dear, take care. Hope to see you soon. And thanks a lot for the talk. And thank you all for joining this talk about the exhibition, arrivals and departures. And I hope a lot of you will be able soon to visit this really extremely interesting and wonderful exhibition of Jacob Aue Sobol. So bye-bye, take care, and see you soon, Jacob. Bye.
Thank you.